Everyone remembers their favorite childhood websites, but does anyone know what they look like now? In this video, I'll be visiting multiple popular websites from my childhood, comparing them with their past and current state, starting with Cool Math. Since 1997, Cool Math Games has been an online platform dedicated to providing engaging ways for children to learn. Because of this, they utilize games that really challenge children to use their brains while having fun. And it worked. Cool Math would go on to be one of the most influential websites of all time. However, even with the success of Cool Math in 2020, they would face their biggest challenge yet. You see, almost all the games on Cool Math were created through Adobe Flash. This was great since Flash games were free and easy to make. But in 2020, Adobe officially stopped supporting the Flash player, leaving Cool Math, a host for Flash games, out to die. Now, Cool Math would survive this crisis, changing all their games from Flash to HTML5. But since then, Cool Math has changed quite a bit. So that's where I come in. Let's take a look at Cool Math. So here you have it. This is what Cool Math looks like today. And honestly, I don't know what to say because it's completely different from when you and I used to play on Cool Math. I mean, it's completely different. For starters, the homepage looks so much more modernized. The UI looks so much more simpler. They have tabs up here where you can scroll down and even click on something that you're specifically looking for. And they even have like a new this week for games that they are trying to promote and are new. They have a top 10, which I'm not sure if I remember a top 10 being from the old Cool Math. Escape games trivia. I mean, it looks so much more simpler and easier to go through. As you can see, Cool Math looks extremely different than the Cool Math we grew up with. The website is now dark, sleek, and more modern. The homepage honestly feels like a mobile app store with its animated thumbnails and dynamic tabs, compared to the older version of the website, which was very text-heavy with minimal thumbnails. Also with navigation just being basic category links. What I love about Cool Math now is that it still has the games from when I was in middle school. Duck Life, Run, Papa's Freezeria, these were all games that I loved. So I'm glad Cool Math still found a way to keep these games alive even after the discontinuation of Adobe Flash. Also, another great thing about Cool Math now is that you can use and play their games on a mobile device, which was something that you weren't able to do back then. Cool Math has changed quite a bit, but even though it has adapted, Cool Math still found a way to retain its core meaning, which is its library of fun games you can play while learning. So now that we have explored Cool Math, it's time to move on to the next relic of the past, Miniclip. Miniclip was first launched on March 30th, 2001. It was extremely similar to Cool Math in the sense that it was a website for Flash games. It featured games like 8-Ball, RuneScape, and even hosted Club Penguin. Miniclip's gaming catalog was huge and it had tons of visitors each year. But like Cool Math, Miniclip would also face the same issue of Adobe Flash shutting down, leaving Miniclip with a decision to make, either shut down completely or adapt. And like Cool Math, Miniclip chose to adapt, but how Miniclip adapted may surprise you, so let's take a look. Okay, as you can see, we are on Miniclip and it is completely different from what I remember. I mean, just look at this. They only have 8-Ball and Aguerre.io as available games on their website. It shows a couple of games, but it's not their whole catalog that, like with Raft Wars, Club Penguin, all the Dirt Bike games. There's so many Dirt Bike games. Click on web games and these are their only 2 web games and it's insane. I did not think that Miniclip would change that much. As you can see by my reaction, the Miniclip today resembles nothing like the old Miniclip. For starters, they've completely changed the website. It looks well polished and professional. It's like more of a business website than a gaming one. Secondly, where's all their games? They're gone. After Flash got discontinued, it seemed that the only games they decided to keep was 8-Ball, Pool, and Aguerre.io. This was completely unexpected because Cool Math was still able to keep all their games even after the death of Flash. But why did Miniclip decide not to follow suit? Well, it seemed like the change in focus of their website was to adapt to the times. The main audience of Miniclip, which was 12 to 18-year-olds, was shifting towards mobile games. To still hit their audience, Miniclip changed its focus from online games to mobile games. That's why when you go under the games tab on their website, they feature all of their mobile games. Honestly, I'm a bit sad that Miniclip has changed as much since my middle school days. However, it's still great to see that this company is still up and running. Although Miniclip has changed, it's still responsible for the many great times I had as a child. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that these websites are changing. I mean, change is normal. So let's see if the next website has changed at all. Let's talk about Friv. Friv was a flash game similar to Cool Math and Miniclip, also having a lot of the same type of games. For many, Friv was a gateway site to discovering random flash games. It was a basic website with one page and all the games on there. The UI was very minimal, where you could move your mouse around until you found a game to play. I wasn't a really big fan of this UI because unless you knew where the game that you wanted to play was, you spent a couple minutes looking for it. But with that said, I now have the opportunity to see what Friv looks like now. Alright, so we are going to head into Friv, and there are 3 different websites that I probably will head to because I see Friv old menu and Friv 2, which I've never heard of, but I do want to hop in to justfriv.com. And honestly, it's a lot of stuff is blocked. Jesus Christ. Yo, I'll say I like this UI a little bit better because at least you can scroll down and actually see like the game name, and you don't have to like do a guessing game of what game it is. Here is Friv 2, which I've never heard of. I'd never heard of Friv 2 before, so this is going to be a new experience. Honestly, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty good. They have Fireball, Water Girl, a classic. Honestly, I like this UI, but I don't know, like it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just I feel like it's very, very, very basic. Got Minecraft games, superhero games. This is not a bad UI in my opinion. It's way better than the original Friv, and they seem to have more games as well. So there you have it. That is what Friv looks like today, and Friv 2 Online, which I honestly had no idea of before recording this video. Let's talk about Friv first though. It was honestly really nothing special. I did like how they made it to where you could scroll down for games with the games already having their title showing. However, this didn't mean much because most of the games on there got blocked by my ad blocker. Friv 2 Online, however, was something completely unknown to me. I did do some research to see if they was related, however, that took me nowhere. I'm not reading all that. So let's just assume that Friv 2 Online is related. Friv 2 Online is a really basic website in my opinion. It doesn't have that same Friv feeling compared to the current Friv. However, it did have a lot of games and it was organized. So if you were to look for a specific game, it would be easier to do so in Friv 2 Online than OG Friv. Overall, Friv was pretty mid back then and still is now. Look, I'm just the messenger. It's just not hidden. But do you know what was hidden? Sticks. No, literally, the next website we're visiting is StickPage. StickPage was created in 1999 by Jason Whitham, and it would become a major hub for sharing stick figure animations and games, with the most notable games being Stick War and the Henry Stickmin series. StickPage was a great website for anything stick related, and it was extremely niche. It was probably peak edginess back in the day too. I mean, if you was on this website in school, you was probably sent straight to the office, but nevertheless, I still visited. I loved playing games like Stick RPG and Stick War, especially Stick War. That game, I swear, it was like crack to a man in the 90s or sugar to a baby. It was addicting. So with that being said, let's see what StickPage has added. All right, I'm excited. So let's just hop straight into StickPage. And the game looks exactly the same from when I remember playing it as a kid. The same UI, same home screen. Everything looks the same. Let's click on fight, see what they have. Yeah, it looks the exact same, but still edgy, still about sticks. But honestly, I'm not too mad. I'm happy that it kind of stayed the same. It's kind of like a relic from the past. And it is. Relic of the past is a perfect description for Stick Page, as it's the same way I remembered it from when I was a child. The animations, the games, the overall aesthetic all bring back the memories of when I loved this website. Although I love that Stick Page is unchanged, this staticness is not without reason. Just like the websites I mentioned beforehand, Flash being shut down would also affect Stick Page as well, as its games were supported through Flash. This would cause Stick Page to stop receiving updates, which is ultimately why Stick Page looks the same way it did back then. But overall, visiting Stick Page was a throwback for me, and seeing it now reminded me of all the good times I had back then. So even after all those years, Stick Page is still goated. Unlike Stick Page, this next website is not niche whatsoever. Let's head into the world of Poptropica. Poptropica was created by Jeff Kinney, also the creator of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. When it was initially released, Poptropica was a side-scroller adventure quest game for kids with puzzles, storytelling, and more, where you had the ability to choose your own journey. The game even featured character customization, multiple islands, and even a safe chat system. As you most likely already know, it was these features that made Poptropica extremely popular growing up. Kids would brag about the islands they've completed, and there were even walkthroughs online for this game. Poptropica was doing great, but with all the success, why is it practically dead now? Let's take a visit to Poptropica. So I searched the Poptropica, and the first thing that pops up is their website, but for some reason it says no information is available for this page, which had me wondering. So I clicked on it, and it takes me straight to Cool Math, and I'm like, hold on, what, didn't Poptropica have their own website? And they did. I remember them having their own website. So if you want to play Poptropica now, you have to play it through Cool Math. You see, Poptropica was one of the biggest victims of the death of Flash. The original game was built entirely on Flash, meaning that all those classic islands, from Spy Island to Time Tangled, stopped working. These developers tried to rebuild Poptropica using HTML5, but it wasn't easy. The new version only had a handful of original islands, and many fan favorites were either removed or heavily redesigned. Then came the Steam version, a $20 pay release, which promised a revived Poptropica experience, but ended up with even fewer of the original islands in a stripping down world. So by 2024, Cool Math stepped in to preserve what's left. They took over hosting and helped keep the browser version alive, ensuring that new players and nostalgic ones like us could still access it without needing downloads or payments. It's kinda ironic, isn't it? The website we used to play on after finishing our schoolwork is now saving another website that we grew up with. While Cool Math stepped in to save Poptropica from disappearing entirely, not every website faced this same fate. Some evolved even before the Flash shutdown, like FunBrain, one of the earliest education entertainment websites on the internet. Launched in 1992, FunBrain was an educational website offering games, videos, and books designed to support children's learning. I actually remember teachers encouraging us to use FunBrain during free time in elementary school. The games were simple, but they did help you learn. Games like Math Baseball and Vine Time were my favorites back then. I truly believe that FunBrain did a great job of educating us while also having fun. So let's take a look to see if they're still upholding this value. So right now we are on FunBrain, and as you can see, it's completely different from what me and you know when we were kids. I mean, look at this. Like, I don't remember any of the state of play. What on earth? Like, what is this? And apparently they also have animations episodes on there too. They have the cut the rope seasons on here, which is crazy. I did not know this. Let's click on games and see. So state of play, we have games, we have Vine Time. I know, yeah, I definitely remember that game. Desert Dive. So they still have the same game. They just kind of the same games from back then. Great to see that they kept the same games compared to like Miniclip, where they just took all the games off and only put the popular ones on there. FunBrain still has their games on here, which is great, but they also have a Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They have books you can read on here, videos. I'm not gonna lie, this website still looks great, and I'm actually kind of glad to see that it's in this condition. As you can see, I was shocked with how good FunBrain looks currently. The website looks way more modern, and it seems to offer more in content in terms of games and videos. It was great to see that they still offered the same games from when I used to play it, but at the same time, FunBrain has clearly evolved. There's a cleaner layout, smoother gameplay, and even new sections for grade level. What's really interesting is how FunBrain managed to stay relevant even after the fall of Flash. Unlike so many other sites from that era, they rebuilt most of their games using newer web tech, which means you can actually still play them today without any downloads or plugins. It's kind of refreshing to see an educational website not only survive, but actually improve over time. In a way, FunBrain kept its original purpose to make learning fun, and that's something a lot of sites from that generation couldn't hold on to. After visiting all these websites, it's crazy to see how much the internet has changed over time. Some sites like Cool Math and FunBrain adapted and evolved with time, while others like Miniclip and Poptropica had to reinvent themselves just to survive. And then there's relics like Stick Page, frozen in time but still holding that same nostalgic charm we all remember. What's wild is that these websites weren't just for games. They were time capsules, pieces of our childhood that shaped how we learned, had fun, and connected online. Whether you were playing Stick War or Duck Life, these websites provided something that just can't be replaced with mobile games or the websites of now. And even though the era of Flash is long gone, it's still nice to see that some of these websites are still up and running. They remind us of a simpler time when all you needed was a school computer, a free period, and maybe an excuse that you were learning math. So while these websites may look like they're abandoned now, their memories definitely aren't. Thanks for joining me on this trip down memory lane. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and also comment down a website that I didn't mention in this video from your childhood. But without further ado, please stay safe, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time.